Hi there, these comments are for MM, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer from all the lessons at OTC, online TOEFL course.com. And how are you doing today? So you're doing, looks like independent speaking practice. So let me get ready. I got it. Okay, let's take a look at what you're doing. Hello, Mr. Buckhoff. Could you please listen to evaluate my response? I appreciate it. The task: some people prefer living in a big city. Other people prefer living in the countryside. Which one do you prefer? So where do you prefer to live? That is the question before us. And I'm listening to your practice test right now. All right, here we go.
I prefer to live in a big city because there's a lot of things to do in a big city. Like there's a lot of malls, restaurants. Also, there's a lot of hospitals if there's some emergency occurs. For example, last week my friend from Colombia visited me, and we had a great time. We went shopping.
Visited you where? Los Angeles? Buenos Aires? Paris. I mean, where are we talking about? You know, even if you don't just say your exact city, you can just make one up, but just give me an example of the large city.
On Oakland Mall. Then we went to IHOP and ate our brunch. And after that, we went to the lake. Uh, we had a great time going around the city and enjoying everything there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at these rubrics here, and I'm looking at the three, right? So the three says overall development is somewhat limited, usually lacks elaboration or specificity. You have the two, mostly basic ideas are expressed with limited elaboration, details, and support. So I think you're between the two and the three here. I'm going to say 2.5 to 3. I'm going to say 20 points on this practice test. So maybe the strategy here that might help you is you rattled off a whole bunch of things, right? Let's go back to the beginning. You talked about a whole bunch of different things you can do in a big city.
I prefer to live in a big city because there's a lot of things to do in a big city. Like there's a lot of malls, restaurants. Also, there's a lot of hospitals if there's some emergency occurs. For example,
See, you're just giving all the. What if you said something like, because of the entertainment and employment opportunities, I prefer living in a big city, right? Say, first of all, big cities have a lot of entertainment options, right? For example, blah, 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 blah. Say, second of all, living in a big city offers more employment opportunities to those residents. Then you take time to develop that, and that's it. And don't bring up anything else in there, because if you bring up too many different things, you're not going to have enough time to elaborate on all those ideas, right? So you're going to be limited in your elaboration. So the more ideas you bring up, the more limited you're going to be and how you can develop those points.
last week my friend from Colombia visited me, and we had a great time. We
So say something like, for example, my friend from Colombia came to visit me in the big city of Oakland in Northern California, which has a population of, 1.2 million people or something.
went shopping on Oakland Mall. Then we went to
But you went shopping, but what did you do? Did you buy a handbag? Did you get some new shoes? Did you buy a blouse, pants? I mean, you can't just mention that example and then move on to something else. There's no elaboration if you do that. Do you see what elaboration is? It, it's kind of like. So think of elaboration kind of like this, right? If you go up to your friend and you say, "Hi, how are you?" Your friend says, "Oh, I'm fine." Then that's it. There's no elaboration there. So if your friend says, "Well, I'm fine," in particular, I got a raise at my job, and while I was working there, I was only making, I think it was $21 an hour. But then last month, my boss was very pleased with my my contribution to the company and gave me a $9 raise. Now, that would be elaboration, right? So that's not what you're doing here,
I
unfortunately.
hope and ate our brunch. And after that, we went to the lake. Uh, we had a great time going around the city.
The other problem is you're speaking in kind of short, simple sentences, and that creates problems with your grammar. Let me show you in the 2 range here. It says the response demonstrates limited range and control of grammar and vocabulary. These limitations often prevent full expression of ideas. For the most part, only basic sentence structures are used successfully and spoken with fluidity. So that's also something going on in your speaking.
And enjoying everything there. I prefer.
So I think if you look in the delivery, I think you're more in the 2 range than you are the 3 range. So let's say maybe 18 to 19 points. I'm going to kind of lower your score slightly. You have some unclear, what we call tone, kind of a choppy rhythm or pace. That's also a problem there. So what do you do here? So to help you with the pronunciation areas, there's 2 different types of lessons you can focus on. One is intonation, pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. I think that's going to be a helpful lesson for you right now. Number 2 is thought groups and blending. You can also work on that area of your delivery. The grammar part of it is tough. This is a tough one. I think grammar lesson number 26, I think, is a good lesson because it talks about syntactic variety. You can take a look at that. I think generally when you go through the grammar lessons, focus on compound and complex sentences. With complex sentences, focus on sentences using adjective clauses, noun clauses, and adverb clauses. I think that would be very helpful for your language use. Topic development, it's elaboration, right? You got to get into the specifics more. And the key there is to focus your ideas. So instead of giving a whole bunch of different things that you did in the city, right, you can just focus on maybe going shopping and then going to the lake or something. But why are you talking about those 2 ideas? Those are entertainment options, right? But maybe there's one other point you'd like to talk about. What's another advantage? How about education? You know, big cities have maybe better educational opportunities than small cities. You could go on and develop that in some depth, and that would also add to the argument you're trying to make. So your score here is about 18 to 19 points on this independent speaking task.